when you think about the performance, I think the higher temperature rating is kind of a really easy win if you want to start printing PEEK in those higher end materials. What other benefits are there for the Mosquito? Or I know there's the Copperhead, and you have a range of products at this point.
Right.
If you look at the first one, the Mosquito that you were selling at first in 2018, what were people really looking for as benefits of an upgrade?
Yeah. So the easiest way I can demonstrate this is with a visual. So I have this visual
Oh,
behind me. I don't know if this is going to show up super well on your podcast, but
so convenient.
essentially, there's a traditional hot end. The heat break is also the structural component that connects the cold section to the hot section, and so to make something a structure, it needs to be structurally sound. And but if you want something not to conduct very much heat, which you don't want a heat break to conduct heat, ideally, you need to make it as thin and light as possible because conduction is a function of cross-sectional area. So ideally, you've got these two sort of opposing needs from one component, which is never a good thing. So we did a couple things there. We decoupled those two functions, the structure and the heat break capacity. And so to do that, we created what we call our roll cage. So there is a big, structure around the heat break so that the heat break can be totally unloaded. It's not subject to stresses during the printing process. So with the exception of, internal friction from the filament moving up and down. So that allows you to make a super thin-walled heat break. So our heat break's 80% or 85% less thick than a comparable monolithic heat break, which means you get 85% less heat creep up the filament path, and that allows you to do a bunch of different things: improve resolution, improve flow rate, increase the temperature rating, and decrease retractions. So all those things come from the fact that you have a thinner wall heat break. The other thing that we did is, anytime you have two competing goals, the best way to solve it is to make a composite. So humans have been doing that for millennia. If you look back the earliest days, people have you take two dissimilar materials and you combine them together and use both their properties to to accomplish the goal. So we did that with our heat break. So our heat break, and this is a little bit harder to see here, but essentially we have a copper slug in the bottom and a copper slug in the top that it helps distribute the heat. We call it a radiator up here. And then it's combined, the two copper components that conduct heat super well are combined together with a steel, a cold rolled, heat treated steel that is a poor conductor relative to the copper. So heat energy moves just like water does. So if you think of water flowing from one place to another, it's going to take whatever the easiest route is to come to a lower energy state, and heat does the same thing. So the copper slug in the bottom helps for good heat distribution and dissipation, good heat distribution in the bottom section. The copper piece up top, whatever heat comes up through that stainless tube gets dissipated really well at the top section. So we just made a composite, essentially. It's our bimetallic heat break technology is the official term.
Gotcha. Okay. And so when I look at bimetallic heat breaks, they seem really difficult to manufacture.
Yes.
Is that something that you guys do in the United States? Do you do it internationally? Did you have to interview dozens of different contract manufacturers to get that done? Can you dive into that at all?
Yeah. So we developed the process entirely internally, I guess you would say, and so yeah, we do all of our machining, assembly is done in the United States. So everything that you see on the Mosquito, down to the packaging, actually is produced in the United States. We do have some of the packaging is made in Canada, but we're still North America. So yeah, we try to, one of our core values is to try and sort of stay local. And so we try to stay as local as we can with whatever we can, within reason to what the market will bear. And that's really important. I mean, jobs are important. Small businesses support the majority of the economy, which
Hmm.
is they've really taken a hit with COVID, and it's a really sad thing. But so our goal is how can we keep jobs here, grow jobs here, and help people out.